No.
And howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Word, Praise, and Wisdom number 48. Howdy, Ashley. Howdy, Lynn. Okay. Today we are continuing in the Apocrypha. You can go here and read that at King James BibleOnline.org. And we are continuing in Ecclesiasticus, also called the Wisdom of Sirach, chapters 6, 7, 8, 9, and busting into the double digits with 10. Is everybody having a good week so far?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and pray in. Looks like Lynn's ready. Heavenly Father, thank you very much for bringing us together for fellowship and to study the written word left behind for us. And we would just ask for your knowledge and discernment, for your spirit of wisdom to be poured out upon us so that we can get the message that you need us to give. And we would ask your blessing on everybody here now and in the future. And for those that are seeking you with their heart and mind and soul, that give them the path for escape for whatever's coming and the place to go to keep them protected. Thank you. We love you. In Jesus Yeshua's name. Amen. All righty. Has everybody got one of these? Should we share? Yeah, let's do a screen share. So remember, when I quit reading, one of you has to start. We'll go me, Ashley, Lynn. Yeah, will that work? We'll go. I don't know what I'm speaking. Okay, here we go. Ecclesiasticus chapter 6. Instead of a friend, become not an enemy, for thereby thou shalt inherit an ill name, shame, and reproach. Even so shall a sinner that hath a double tongue. Extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own heart, that thy soul be not torn in pieces as a bull straying alone. Thou shalt eat up thy leaves, and lose thy fruit, and leave thyself as a dry tree. A wicked soul shall destroy him that hath it, and shall make him to be laughed to scorn of his enemies. Sweet language will multiply friends, and a fair-speaking tongue will increase kind greetings. Be in peace with many. Nevertheless, have but one counselor of 1,000. If thou wouldst get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him. For some man is a friend for his own occasion, and will not abide in the day of thy trouble. And there is a friend who, being turned to enmity and strife, will discover thy reproach. Again, some friend is a companion at the table, and will not continue in the day of thy affliction. But in thy prosperity he will be as thyself, and will be bold over thy servants. If thou be brought low, he will be against thee, and will hide himself from thy face. Separate thyself from thine enemies, and take heed of thy friends. A faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that hath found such an one hath found a treasure. Nothing doth countervail a faithful friend, and his excellency is invaluable. A faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear the Lord shall find him. Whoso feareth the Lord shall direct his friendship aright, for as he is, so shall his neighbor be also. My son, gather instruction from thy youth, so shalt thou find wisdom till thine old age. Come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth, and wait for her good fruits. For thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her, but thou shalt eat of her fruits right soon. She is very unpleasant to the unlearned. He that is without understanding will not remain with her. She will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial, and he will cast her from him ere it be long. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. Give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel. And put thy feet into her fetters, and thy neck into her chain. Bow down thy shoulder, and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds. Come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power. Search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go. For at the last thou shalt find her rest, and that shall be turned to thy joy. Then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory. For there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace. Thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and shalt put her about thee as a crown of joy. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught, and if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding, and if thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise. Stand in the multitude of the elders, and cleave unto him that is wise. Be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee. And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart, and give thee wisdom at thine own desire.
Okay, chapter 7. Do no evil, so shall no harm come unto thee. Depart from the unjust, and iniquity shall turn away from thee. My son, sow not upon the furrows of the unrighteousness, and thou shalt not reap them sevenfold. Seek not of the Lord preeminence, neither of the king the seat of honor. Justify not thyself before the Lord, and boast not of thy wisdom before the king. Seek not to be judged, being not able to take away iniquity, lest at any time thou fear the person of the mighty, and stumbling block in the way of thy uprightness. Offend not against the multitude of a city, and then thou shalt not cast thyself down among the people. Bind not one sin upon another, for in one thou shalt not be unpunished. Say not, God will look upon the multitude of my oblations, and when I offer to the Most High God, he will accept it. Be not faint-hearted when thou makest thy prayer, and neglect not to give alms. Laugh no man to scorn in the bitterness of his soul, for there is one which humbleth and exalteth. Devise not a lie against thy brother, neither do the like to thy friend. Use not to make any manner of lie, for the custom thereof is not good. Use not many words in a multitude of elders, and make not much babbling when thou prayest. Hate not laborious work, neither husbandry, which the Most High hath ordained. Number not thyself among the multitude of sinners, but remember that wrath will not tarry long. Humble thyself greatly, for the vengeance of the ungodly is fire and worms. Change not a friend for any good by no means, neither a faithful brother for the gold of Ophir. Forego not a wise and good woman, for her grace is above gold. Whereas thy servant worketh truly, and treat him not evil, for the hireling that bestoweth himself wholly for thee. Let thy soul love a good servant, and defraud him not of liberty. Hast thou cattle? Have an eye to them, and if they be for thy profit, keep them with thee. Hast thou children? Instruct them, and bow down their neck from their youth. Hast thou daughters? Have a care of their body, and show not thyself cheerful toward them. Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding. Hast thou a wife after thy mind? Forsake her not, but give not thyself over to a light woman. Honor thy father with thy whole heart, and forget not the sorrows of thy mother. Remember that thou wast begotten of them, and how canst thou recompense them the things that they have done for thee? Fear the Lord with all thy soul, and reverence his priests. Love him that made thee with all thy strength, and forsake not his ministers. Fear the Lord, and honor the priest, and give him his portion, as it is commanded thee, the firstfruits, and the trespass offering, and the gift of the shoulders, and the sacrifice of sanctification, and the firstfruits of the holy things. And stretch thine hand unto the poor, that thy blessing may be perfected. A gift hath grace in the sight of every man living, and for the dead detain it not. Fail not to be with them that weep, and mourn with them that mourn. Be not slow to visit the sick, for that shall make thee to be beloved. Whatsoever thou takest in hand, remember the end, and thou shalt never do amiss.
Chapter 8. Strive not with the mighty man, lest thou fall into his hands. Be not at variance with the rich man, lest he overweigh thee. For gold hath destroyed many and perverted the hearts of kings. Strive not with the man that is full of tongue, and heap not wood upon his fire. Jest not with the rude man, lest thy ancestors be disgraced. Reproach not a man that turneth away from sin, but remember that we are all worthy of punishment. Dishonor not a man in his old age, for even some of us wax old. Rejoice not over the greatest enemy being dead, but remember that we all die. Despise not the discourse of the wise, but acquaint thyself with their proverbs. For of them thou shalt learn instructions, and how to serve great men with ease. Miss not the discourse of the elders, for they also learned of their fathers, and of them thou shalt learn understanding, and to give answers as need requireth. Kindle not the coals of a sinner, lest thou be burnt with the flame of his fire. Rise not up in anger at the presence of injurious person. Let he lie in wait to entrap thee in thy words. Lend not unto him that is mightier than thyself, for if thou lendest him, count it but lost. For not surety above the power, for if thou be surety, take care to pay it. Go not to law with a judge, for they will judge for him according to his honor. Travel not by the way with a bold fellow, lest he become grievous unto thee, for he will do according to his own will, and thou shalt perish with him through his folly. Strive not with an angry man, and go not with him into a solitary place, for blood is as nothing in his sight, and where there is no help, he will overthrow thee. Consult not with the fool, for he cannot keep counsel. Do no secret thing before a stranger, for thou knowest not what he will bring forth. Open not thine eyes to every man, lest he requite thee with a shrewd turn.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 9. Be not jealous over the wife of thy bosom, and teach her not an evil lesson against thyself. Give not thy soul unto a woman, to set her foot upon thy substance. Meet not with an harlot, lest thou fall into her snares. Use not much the company of a woman that is a singer, lest thou be taken with her attempts. Gaze not on a maid, that thou fall not by those things that are precious in her. Give not thy soul unto harlots, that thou lose not thine inheritance. Look not round about thee in the streets of the city, neither wander thou in the solitary place thereof. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty. For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman, for herewith love is kindled as a fire. Sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine, lest thine heart incline unto her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction. Forsake not an old friend, for the new is not comparable to him. A new friend is as new wine. When it is old, thou shalt drink it with pleasure. Envy not the glory of a sinner, for thou knowest not what shall be his end. Delight not in the thing that the ungodly have pleasure in, but remember, they shall not go unpunished unto their grave. Keep thee far from the man that hath power to kill. So shalt thou not doubt the fear of death. And if thou come unto him, make no fault, lest he take away thy life presently. Remember that thou goest in the midst of snares, and that thou walkest upon the battlements of the city. As near as thou canst, guess at thy neighbor, and consult with the wise. Let thy talk be with the wise, and all thy communications in the law of the Most High. And let just men eat and drink with thee, and let thy glorying be in the fear of the Lord. For the hand of the artificer, the work shall be commended, and the wise ruler of the people for his speech. A man of an ill tongue is dangerous in his city, and he that is rash in his talk shall be hated.
Chapter 10. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. In what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. In the hand of God is the prosperity of man, and upon the person of the scribe shall he lay his honor. Bear not hatred to thy neighbor for every wrong, and do nothing at all by injurious practices. Pride is hateful before God and man, and by both doth one commit iniquity. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man, for such an one setteth his own soul to sale, because while he liveth he casteth away his bowels. The physician cutteth off a long disease, and he that is today a king tomorrow shall die. For when a man is dead, he shall inherit creeping things, beasts, and worms. The beginning of pride is when one departeth from God, and his heart is turned away from his Maker. For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that hath it shall pour out abomination. And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities, and overthrew them utterly. The Lord hath cast down the thrones of proud princes, and set up the meek in their stead. The Lord hath plucked up the roots of the proud nations, and planted the lowly in their place. The Lord overthrew countries of the heathen, and destroyed them to the foundations of the earth. He took some of them away, and destroyed them, and hath made their memorial to cease from the earth. Pride was not made for men, nor furious anger for them that are born of a woman. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed, and they that love him an honorable plant. They that regard not the law are a dishonorable seed. They that transgress the commandments are a deceivable seed. Among brethren he that is chief is honorable. So are they that fear the Lord in his eyes. The fear of the Lord goeth before the obtaining of authority, but roughness and pride is the losing thereof. Whether he be rich, noble, or poor, their glory is the fear of the Lord. It is not meet to despise the poor man that hath understanding, neither is it convenient to magnify a sinful man. Great men and judges and potentates shall be honored, yet is there none of them greater than he that feareth the Lord. Unto the servant that is wise shall they that are free do service, and he that hath knowledge will not grudge when he is reformed. Be not overwise in doing thy business, and boast not thyself in the time of thy distress. Better is he that laboreth and aboundeth in all things than he that boasteth himself and wanteth bread. My son, glorify thy soul in meekness, and give it honor according to the dignity thereof. Who will justify him that sinneth against his own soul? And who will honor him that dishonoreth his own life? The poor man is honored for his skill, and the rich man is honored for his riches. He that is honored in poverty, how much more in riches? And he that is dishonorable in riches, how much more in poverty?
Well, that's thought-provoking. Let's go back to 6, shall we? Ecclesiasticus chapter 6. Okay.
I got verse 2.
Did you? I was looking at 1 and 2.
Okay.
I was looking at 1.
Okay. Talk to me.
It just reminded me of that verse in Proverbs, don't lean on your own understanding.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what about you, Lynn?
Well, it just hit me. Instead of a friend, become not an enemy.
Right.
So,
Yep. Yeah, because if you have a friendship and transgress that person, that you do get an ill name, shame, and reproach because everybody talks about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then it goes on to say what's going to happen if that happens. You turn to the counsel of your own heart. You shall eat up thy dry leaves and lose your fruit, and leave yourself as a dry tree. Yep. And that, and then it goes on giving some advice in 5, 6, 7 about getting friends, keeping friends.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
Choose
Don't.
your counselors wisely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
7, if you would get a friend, prove him first, right? Don't just go slapping that title of friend on everybody.
Mhm.
Make sure they're worthy of it.
Right. And there's acquaintances and then there's friends.
Right. Our
Oh,
friends of friends.
let me-
It's funny because if you look at, it reminds me of Jesus, Yeshua, talking to the disciples, and he says, man has no greater gift than this, that he laid down his life for his friends.
Mhm.
And then this is talking about proving your friends before they make him a friend.
Mhm.
And then it goes through these classifications of friends, of what men would call friends. Okay, what else do you have?
Like verse 16, you're only going to find a faithful friend if you fear the Lord.
Isn't that interesting? That
Mhm.
jumped out at me too. Yep.
And so I think naturally when you do that, all those people you think are your friends or they're just acquaintances, they just kind of fall off.
Yeah. And then that next verse, right, tells you why. Whoso feareth the Lord shall direct his friendship aright. For as he is, so shall his neighbor be also.
Is that kind of like two birds of a feather flock together kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And also too, he's going to be treating people the way he expects to be treated
Mm-hmm.
within the law, right? It's not going to be like, oh, if they do me a dirty deed, I'm going to do them worse. Sort of.
Yeah.
I'll show them.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of a joke, but I think some people take it seriously when they kind of boast about if that person crosses me, they'll be sorry kind of thing. And
Right.
I don't know.
Laugh now.
Yeah.
You'll be crying later. Okay. I remember that. Someone said that actually in junior high school. Yeah. Oh, okay. What else do we have here?
When it's talking about wisdom right there,
Mm-hmm.
it's very burdensome and terrible to the unjust, but for the believer, it's that it made me think of when Yeshua said that his yoke is easy and his burden is light.
Yep.
Because it really is rest. Like once you realize all of his commandments and his laws there to protect us and shield us from things, you can rest in that. It takes a lot of burden off of trying to, I don't know, fit in, for example, with the world.
Sure.
And when it gets uncomfortable, it's like, I can't. It's easy now.
Right.
Yeah, amen, sister.
No. And then in the way it's talking about to the son, right? In 23, basically seek out wisdom and, learn as much as you can, because it's going to be a benefit to you.
It's hiding his word in your heart.
Yeah. Yep.
Writing it in your mind and your heart.
Yeah.
But you have to do work to do that.
Yeah. And this isn't talking about physics and hydroengineering. This is talking about the wisdom of God, not the worldly stuff.
Yeah.
But the wisdom of God will get you through that stuff or away from it. And then it's interesting because again, golden ornament upon her and her bands are purple lace. Wear her as a robe of honor, and yet we're told to put on Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Just another description, I think, of it's a messianic description, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you have?
Verse 32, you have to be willing. These things don't just come to you. You have to have a willing mind and a willing heart in order to receive those things.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we got that big word there twice. If
Yeah.
thou wilt, if thou wilt apply thy mind. 33. If you love to hear,
Mm-hmm.
and if you bow your ear, then you'll get all that about wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go hang out with the old people.
Right.
Verse 34.
Yeah. That. Yeah. And then I was looking when reading 36. Right. If you see a man of understanding, get unto him, and let your foot wear out the steps of his door, or wear the steps of his door. Think about those old stairs, those old like stone stairs where they're like all worn in the middle. That's what it's saying. Seek that wise person, that wise man for advice. Don't, while they're here, before they get taken.
Mm-hmm. It's like verse 35, and then you see the Pharisees did not let the parables of understanding stick with them. They wouldn't hear it.
Yeah. What are you babbling about? If you got to ask. Yeah. And I love this, let your mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord and meditate continually in his commandment. He will establish your heart and give you wisdom at your desire.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know about you all, but I find the more I study, the more I try to apply my living to being in him, to being in him, in Yeshua, in Jesus. Solutions come faster.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It used to be I'd have to pray on it and wait, and then like a long, long time later, you'd be like, oh, I could solve it like this. But now it's like short order comparatively.
I think that last verse is just summing that all up. It's not
what?
like, oh, that last verse there, and he gives thee wisdom at thine own desire. I think a lot of people take that out of context, like I can get what I want kind of thing, but it's
Right.
It's talking about having, I think, that wisdom and being able to make decisions and changing your desires to be his desires.
Yeah. Yep. Let's go to 7. Let's see. Yeah, and we hear that as much too. Is once we get into that and we're praying for his will to be done, it says then he'll hear your prayers and fulfill them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I love verse 1.
Yeah. If you don't do evil, you're not going to have the bad stuff coming on you. It seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it seems that way.
And that goes with verse 2. Depart from the unjust, and iniquity or lawlessness shall turn away from you.
Don't stand in the way of sinners. Don't sit in the seat of scoffers.
Right.
Stay away from them.
Yeah.
Don't go picking fights with them. Just stay away.
Yep. Yeah. Now look at 4, right? If don't seek to be above others.
Yeshua had that very parable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
In that, don't seek that out, or to be the king of the seat of honor. And that, remember the disciples, put one of us at your right hand and one of us at your left. It's not mine to give. That would be a rough one.
And then 6.
Yeah. What about that?
Don't don't seek to be a judge. That's hard to do sometimes because you see something and just because it's not a problem for you, it's just easy to want to be like, just pick them apart. And I don't mean like the big obvious things. I mean like even little things and or seemingly little things. And you're not able to take away their iniquity. You need to, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think it goes with a later verse, I think in a different chapter about if someone's repenting,
Don't rebuke them.
don't rebuke them. Yeah. I think it kind of goes with that.
Don't criticize them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like someone quits drinking or something. They quit drinking. Yeah. Well, that's great, but you still don't have a job, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No.
I think it's interesting too in verse 6, the second part, lest at any time thou fear the person of the mighty and stumbling block in the way of uprightness.
Mm-hmm.
So is that like if you seek to be a judge and you want to be lord over people, and does that mean it puts a fear in you over someone that's more mighty than yourself?
It could be.
Or it could be that you're not judging righteously because of
who they are.
That they're a mightier type up above you. So
yeah.
Well, we see that now. I mean, there's two in our country. There's two justice systems in that. But look at 8, right? Don't stack sin upon sin, right? Because you're going to be punished for one of them. It's not going to go unrecorded or unacknowledged or unpaid. But then you're like, hey, nothing happened to me immediately, so I can keep on doing it.
Or also the mindset probably, I think, could go in with that is, well, this sin's not nearly as bad as this other one, so that one's whatever. I'm only worried about maybe this sin or, I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but.
Yeah.
Right. And then 9 explains it,
Yeah.
It's like you can't give enough offerings, but you think that he's going to accept it.
Well, your heart is wicked with that. Your mind is wicked. So how can he accept it? It's not being done in truth, in spirit and in truth.
I believe 11 also goes with, I think it was in Proverbs when we read that. Basically, don't rejoice when your enemy falls. Unless, Abba sees that, your Father in heaven sees that, and takes your blessings away because of that. Because
he doesn't desire that anyone should perish.
He doesn't desire
the whole world.
Exactly. He doesn't want anyone to perish, but he made everybody. Everybody was made in his image. And some people aren't satisfied with that, and they're going to try to pervert the image in which they were created. But the thing is, they're still his child. And I liken it to, when you see if you're a fair and just parent, see your children, one of your children picking on another child, right? It hurts to see that.
Yeah, it's grieving. It's not. And then, so how does that make us look when we laugh at people and their fall? It just makes us know better. I mean, I think in his eyes, we should be heartbroken like he would be.
Right. And at the same time, we also see where, they had it coming. Don't mourn for them, but don't rejoice in it.
Right. I mean, we know while there's hope, we try to do our best to reach out to them, but we don't have to rejoice in knowing what their fate is if they don't. I mean, it's not like we'll leave that to the Father,
Yeah. In that, and it's, and it goes in, stays on that for quite a bit, but then it goes back into friendship again in 18. That talking about don't destroy a friendship to get some type of material goods is the way I'm reading it. Change not a friend for any goods by no means, nor a faithful brother for the gold of Ophir.
Or even bribes.
The what?
Or, like even bribes or even changing who you are because, maybe they're a good godly friend, but you end up doing something ungodly for some junk and they can't be your friend anymore and they've lost a friend.
Well, hey man, can you help me? I need some help feeding my family this month or whatever. And then it's, oh, I'd like to, but I got a really screaming deal on Bitcoin. And then I'll be able to help you out.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That
makes sense too.
Tossing it around. Where was that? Oh, there we go. Okay. And then it goes into, well, more into that.
Mm-hmm.
But back to wise and good woman.
I think it goes with that previous verse. It's a good friend, a good woman, and those are better than gold.
Yep, they are.
You put a price on them.
Yep. Yeah. And that 21, love a good servant. Don't defraud him of his freedom. And we see that was also part of the sin of Israel, as they were keeping people in bondage past that year of liberty and past Jubilee, or re enslaving them after Jubilee. Well, bummer, you didn't make enough money to keep your house. And that's contrary to what it says. It says when they hit that year of freedom, you load them up, give them enough to live on.
Mm-hmm.
They enlarged your household, return the favor.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then talking about daughters, right? That's basically saying protect your daughters.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what it means by show not thyself cheerful toward them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what it means by that. But
I think it might go with the start of the next one, right? Marry your daughter, and so they'll have performed a weighty matter. Don't do it. Don't. Basically, it sounds like it's against incest.
Okay.
To me, right? Mm-hmm. Don't marry her, but give her to a man of understanding. Someone that's going to treat her like that woman of gold that we read about up above.
I want to go back to verse 23. I think that is something that's just so lost today.
Right.
I don't think people realize what they're doing when they don't instruct their children. It's not just, they do this or that. I mean, bow down their neck from their youth.
Right. Yeah. Well, I've seen a meme lately. It's, what is it? The Timeout Generation is making their show now, and things are worse off than the butt whipping generation.
Yeah, we had we had both in our family.
Yeah,
because the butt whipping didn't work for the one.
Right. Sometimes it wouldn't work. Yeah. Sometimes it takes
now there's a big mess. So.
Yep.
Well, I think it kind of goes with in spirit and in truth, not just the physical punishment, but helping them understand why.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Having that love with the instruction.
How does that make you feel, son? Like you're wasting my time, Dad. Yeah. And then 26, it's back to the wife. If you have a wife that's trying to understand you, don't forsake her.
Mm-hmm.
But don't give yourself over to a light woman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's saying get yourself a heavy girl.
Is he still talking about like a wife though? Like if your wife doesn't care,
Right.
like don't like
Don't give yourself over to one who's just what do they call it? Lightfoot and fancy free or something? Careful. Something
High
foot.
maintenance.
even sorry.
Something foot and fancy free. I forget what it is.
I was thinking somebody who doesn't care about God's law and like
Yeah.
it's like whatever. They don't take it seriously. So it's hard to connect with people who aren't equally yoked.
Yeah, don't marry a ninny.
What'd you say, Lynn?
It sounds like they're describing a ninny.
A ninny?
A ninny.
Yeah.
Don't be a ninny.
Yep. And here again, we have honor your father and your mother, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's a hard one. Honor your father and mother. And it says, they begot you.
Mm-hmm.
How can you repay them for what they've done for you? And everybody focuses on all the horrible things. And I used to also, but the fact remains, they brought you into the world.
Yeah.
So
parenting is not easy.
Yeah, that's something.
Sure. It isn't.
Yeah, it is.
And that's why you need the old people.
Yeah.
It is, right? And even if someone has made mistakes in their past, they can advise younger people on, you know what, that's what I did also. You want to see how I turned out?
Yeah. And they still have so much more wisdom that you'll never be able to catch up with them until they're gone and you're their age.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And here we talk about first fruits, trespass offering, the gift of the shoulders. Remember reading about that? What was that offering? Not the wave offering. One of those where he's waving the shoulder to the four directions in the temple. High priest. Right? And stretch your hand unto the poor. There's a lot of that not happening. Excuse me.
Yeah, it seems like, from what I'm observing, the people that have money are having money given to them. It's like, for me, I need money for this, but they have money.
Right.
And it's like, I'm not even giving you a $5 bill because I don't have money. And you aren't, nope.
Well, you can't haul everything around everywhere.
The truth.
And you can't take it with you, right? We just read that about
in verse 33.
Well,
the dead detain it not.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And seriously, you don't care at that time either. So.
Right. And this is all basically repeated in the what are those? The Beatitudes. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Visit the sick.
Oh, be not slow.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. All right. Let's go to 8.
I have verse 36. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just remember at the end that thou shalt never do amiss. Be careful everything you do.
Yeah.
But be careful for nothing.
That's what things you need.
Right. That's right. That is right. That's for the things for ourselves. Don't worry about it. Abba's going to take care of us.
But your actions have consequences, and yeah.
And so 8 is continuing on 8. Yeah, 8's continuing on with what started earlier. And
Verse 2 is interesting.
right?
They're perverted. And a lot of these people are perverted. Don't mess with these people because they can destroy you.
Right. Well, goes to what we were saying before. Don't go kicking the snake
Yeah.
just because you have the ability to tread on serpents and not get bitten.
Yeah. But we're also supposed to live at peace with all men as much as possible.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
Strive not with a man that is full of tongue. So someone that's just ranting and raving.
Yeah.
Don't add to that. Don't egg them on. Right.
They can just keep going on and on.
Right. And the same thing is with a rude man. Right.
That's interesting. You can disgrace your ancestors by jesting with a rude man.
Right. Yeah. I was talking with someone about that yesterday with, we think that we are the fruit of the previous generations, but in looking at Jesus, Yeshua saying the first will be last and the last will be first.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at your genealogy, right? The
Mm-hmm.
way your genealogy got, 4 grandparents, 8 great grandparents, 16 great great grandparents, and it stretches all the way back to the first, right? At least to Noah. It's almost like we're the inverse. Like everybody's looking at us. All of our previous ancestors are looking at us saying, come on, you can make it. Do it. Do it. Okay. Anyways. And then here again in 7, right?
Have verse 7 as well.
Rejoice not over thy greatest enemy being dead, but remember that we all die.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was interesting. It's kind of a contrast to, I can't remember which psalm it is, but it says, precious in the sight are the death of his saints. Like that's something to rejoice over, but your enemy, like the sinner, it's not something to rejoice over because they don't have the same end.
Yeah. And then 8 and 9, more of thee seeking wisdom from the wise and the elders.
Yeah.
Well, it makes your life easier because it says that you can serve them with ease.
Mm-hmm. And what about 10? That kind of goes up here with 3,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't encourage the sinner in their sin. Man, no wonder the Protestants wanted this taken out. The kindle not the coals of a sinner, lest you be burnt with the flame of his fire.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, God loves everybody. Everybody, come on in. No, repent, sinner. Stop
Mm-hmm.
sinning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're making their condition worse.
You're making and your own. You're going to get burned with their
Mm-hmm.
sin. I mean, it says it right there.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's not loving them. You're not.
Yeah, tolerance is not love.
Mm-mm.
Right.
It's like if you have not that they're a child, but like if you have a child that's about to touch like a hot stove, you're going to smack their hand away really hard, right? You're not going to like be like, well, I don't want to make you cry if I smack you, so I'll let you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that was a discussion kind of early on.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been an argument, but people listened to reason, and it was, I grew up, you put knives point down, sharp knives point down in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
And that was not the way it was done. in the other parent's household. And I was like, why? Well, because it dulls the knives and then you have to resharpen them. I said, it's easier to resharpen a knife than to replace the eye of a toddler that trips and falls on the knife.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all the knives are going point down. Yeah, that would really be a bad situation.
That would be horrible.
But you get the idea. Don't lend to someone that's higher above you, right? If they've got more than you, why do they need to borrow from you? No, that's not crazy. That is the way it works. And then, right, be not surety above your power, right? That is, oh, my son or daughter got arrested. I'm going to put all my house up as collateral to get them out of jail. No, stupid, don't. Right? Hey, they get fed there.
Mm-hmm.
Have a bed there. You told them not to go there. Told them not to do things to get there. So don't put everything on the line.
Don't co-sign.
Yep.
Right.
But if you do it, take care to pay it.
Yeah.
Well, don't go to law with a judge. Right? Meaning, don't sue someone, don't get into combat with someone that's in the good old boys club.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what else do we have here? 16. That.
Yeah, 16.
No.
Scary.
Yeah. Don't go down no dark alleys with somebody that you know is a brawler.
Yep.
I think 17 through 19 all go together. Keep your mouth shut around certain people. Just don't open up to certain people.
Yep.
It's like have that one counselor out of 1,000. Don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to 9. Number 9. All right. Wow. More warnings about women, how to treat the good ones and which ones to stay away from.
Mm-hmm.
Well, verse 1, I mean, don't do something that she's not going to be thinking that you're a very good person about.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, in other words, you be good to your wife.
Right.
But I don't understand, too.
So I don't think that's talking about the wife. That's talking about just a woman. Everything I have is yours.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
That.
I think too, like it's, you see people who they're not married, but they're together. And then it's almost like you'll see one of them, they're just there to take what they can get. And then once they get what they have, they're gone. And
it's an advantageous.
You've given your soul into them because you've been with them, and then they're gone because they're not a good person. They're not committed.
Right. We used, I'll give you a prime example, I think. I've known a few people, a few men in the past that have gotten together with women, and then it's a sob story, oh, I'm going to lose this, or I need to get that. So they end up blowing all their savings, and then as soon as that's gone, adios.
Yeah.
I don't know. And men do it too, but you don't hear about it as much.
Yeah.
I think maybe women are a little smarter.
Yeah, how many people you know moved in with especially in the biker world, moved in with somebody, and then pretty soon they got nothing. They're out, and they got no bikes and no tools and no leather and no nothing.
Yep. And she went on to another biker.
Yep.
Yeah.
So many times.
I thought 4 was interesting, talking about the company of a woman that is a singer.
Yeah, that's strange. What does singer mean? Does that literally mean someone who sings?
I think it does. I think it does.
Well, because she would be like an entertainer, or and
Yeah, just living for the moment. Yeah.
right. Throw me your tips.
Yeah, 6 goes kind of like with what we were just discussing too. You're gonna blow your inheritance on them, on the hookers. Don't do it.
Verse 5 reminded me of David's son that fell in love, not fell in love, but lusted after his sister.
Right. After, one of the other brothers, sisters, full sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think wasn't his half sister?
Yeah.
Absalom's sister.
Yep.
Look at all the trouble that caused.
Caused quite a bit.
I mean, it completely destroyed David's relationship with Absalom too.
Right. And this.
Right. We saw how that ended up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Not well.
Really sad.
In 8, 9, that could be summed up, I think, with avoid all appearance of evil.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing hanging out with another man's wife or another woman's husband? Same thing, right? What are you snuggling for?
Don't even be in like a building by yourself with someone else's spouse.
Right. Well, there's been people that have talked about stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's the thing. Avoid all appearance of it. That's what are you doing, man?
Yeah, there used to be rules.
Yeah.
For when people got together.
Understood boundaries.
Right.
That's happened at an old church I went to. Like,
you leave the door open, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can always justify why you're alone with somebody.
Yeah.
And it's just not worth it. Don't even go there. Like, just.
Oh, yeah. So let's see here. And then 10 again, we're back to friends.
10.
Mm-hmm.
Old friends. A lot of times if you do have a good old friend, that it is, a lot of times there's nothing that needs to be said.
They are a treasure.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's another one too. How many times in 11? How many times have we in the past or heard people say now, why do they get all the, gold, mansions, wealth, Ferraris, etc.?
Yeah.
You know what? Don't worry about it. If they got that by ill-gotten means, which is most likely, then, which is, well, I shouldn't say most likely, but it's likely. But just don't worry about it. Worry about what you have. And then I'm going to go back to the biker community. That's one thing. Is they aren't focused beyond their motorcycles. They're not focused so much on the great big house.
Yeah.
and stuff. You know,
That would,
your life is now. This is your life. Enjoy it.
yeah.
Live it.
Be happy with what you have and go for a ride.
You know, yeah, go for a ride.
Yeah.
It's a stereotype, but
It's
lots
true
of them are.
if you
Yeah.
ever lived the life. If you,
No.
Yeah. Your house is just a place to crash and take a shower, maybe eat. Your life is on the bike. So
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And
I have
that
verse 12.
12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Don't revel in their
be set
sin.
apart. Is
Exactly.
what I'm thinking of.
Well, you know, and then in these 14, 15,
14 is odd.
16.
We need guess.
So basically surround yourself with people seeking God's wisdom, people
Mm-hmm.
living that set apart life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to, oh, never mind. All right.
Verse 16. If you're going to glory in something, glory in the fear of the Lord.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, what else is there?
Right.
It's all him.
He says, talk about Abba, talk about his laws, his ways.
Right. Yeah, it's all
Because
him.
that's what you're going to take with you, really, because that's what's forever.
Yep.
Yes.
He is their reward.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. More advice in the end.
And it's like, I don't know if, I'm sure you guys get the same feeling. There'll be just moments you're just sitting there and you're like, you don't want anything else but him. And you're just like, you feel like you miss him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, even though he's here with us, it's just, there's that, we're going to be even more with him one day.
Right.
Yeah, that longing to be in his presence. And
We're content, and we're going to be contenter.
Yeah.
Hey.
Exactly.
All right, let's go to 10. Let's see. It's more Proverbs.
Verse
Yeah.
3. Verse 3.
Yep. Sure.
Oh.
What? Was this written today? No.
I don't even think I need to say anything, do I?
No, I don't think you do. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. To the
Yeah.
people, them which are in authority, the city, sorry about that, shall be inhabited. Portland,
Mm-hmm.
Seattle. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What else jumped out at you?
Oh, she sure does go into talking a lot about pride.
Yeah.
I had verse 6.
Uh-huh.
Don't hold grudges. You got to let stuff go.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll be like, if you hold everything against everyone, you're going to be miserable because everybody.
Be a duck.
Yeah.
Be a duck.
Yeah.
Quack, quack.
It's interesting
Be
that it
forgiving
says,
too.
yeah, it says, don't bear hatred to your neighbor for every wrong.
Yeah.
Some of them, maybe.
No. Well.
No?
Yeah, but
the screws are still in the can, so.
don't be a doormat. But at the same time, don't hold hatred towards
Right.
people. You got to forgive people.
It can be a struggle when
Mm-hmm.
your neighbor is
Yeah,
thoughtless, and
Yeah.
it can be a real struggle. It can. A big struggle. A really, really big struggle.
Mm-hmm. Verse 8 jumped out at me as like Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
They disappeared. They didn't get translated from one people to another, but
Right.
they were
got
doing all those things. And, you look at all the wicked cities that Israel was able to overcome.
Right.
But it's because they had fulfilled their unrighteousness, and God let David or whoever the leader was at the time to go in and just wipe them out because they were so wicked.
Well, it continues in that with 9, right? Why is earth and ashes proud?
Mm-hmm.
There's not a more wicked thing than a covetous man.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it comes down to covetousness because you just want more and more, and it's never, if you're covetous, you'll never be satisfied with anything.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's never enough.
Right.
And then at the end, it says even after that, for such an one setteth his own soul to sale, because
Yep.
eventually run out of everything, you have nothing left but to sell your soul, and you do.
Right. So what's 10 about? The physician cuts off a long disease.
Maybe with treatment, he eventually gets rid of something, and then they're people struggle with a disease all their life or something, and they take medications, and then
Chronic disease.
and then at the end of the day,
Still going to be like the dead king. Bad.
Well, maybe
Right.
because it's using the word physician, that they got a long disease or they had something for a long time, and now they got the physician in there, and now they're dead.
Right.
Because the word physician, if you look that root up, look up that word and what it means.
Wrong physician.
Because
like the woman with the issue of blood, she touched the hem of the garment of the correct one, and she was healed. But then you go to the other ones. Maybe the other ones have been making her worse all that time.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. The root word of physician is witch, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
You're mistaken. It's
is it?
It means the root word for physician is in Hebrew is Hebrew 7495 Rapha, to mend or cure.
Okay,
You're thinking
so
of sorcerer.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm using another language meaning.
And that, well, in the Greek, it is, let's see.
Because they practice medicine. They practice.
Yeah. In the Greek, it is 2395 iatros, just physician, from 2390 aomia, meaning same thing, to cure.
Okay.
I think there's kind of a difference between, like, I think maybe back then it was mixing stuff like they are today. Like you have people who bind up wounds, and you have treatments like binding up wounds, and then you have other ones where it's like, let me give you this concoction made in a lab, which is pharmakia, and give this to you.
In that, well, it makes a difference in the Old Testament, talking about the can't think of the term now.
The person who makes like ointments and stuff.
Yep.
What are they called? I can't remember.
Apothecary.
Yeah, the apothecary.
Apothecary, right? But then that same skill set is used for sorcery to make drugs and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Satan manipulates and corrupts everything.
Yep.
But maybe the way they practice, it's totally different. Exactly. What they're using it for, and why, and because isn't there also with the apothecary, wasn't there a mixture of oils that was forbidden?
Right, the ones that were just for the priest.
Yeah.
In that,
there's the Exodus oils. We're not allowed to reproduce those.
Right, in that.
And then the oil of joy.
Well, I'm just talking about the ones that they were told for making for the priests.
Mm-hmm.
Like
this
cinnamon
formula, and nobody else is allowed to use it. But then I saw somebody passing that recipe around. It's like, no, you're not supposed to even touch that.
And was that only for the high priest?
It was for whoever's working in the temple.
Okay.
That, let's see. Since it came up, let's see. Let's see. In Exodus 30 and Exodus 37. Let's see. Yeah, it was for anointing the tabernacle itself and the ark.
So it wasn't necessarily
and
for
Aaron,
person.
and Aaron and his
Oh,
sons.
Aaron and sons. Okay.
So, yep. But then in 32, it says, "Upon man's flesh shall it not be poured, neither shall you make any like it, any other like it after the composition of it. It's holy, and it shall be holy unto you. Anybody that compounds it and puts it on any stranger shall be cut off from his people."
So it says even like it. So maybe we're not supposed to be mixing so many together.
Well,
I don't know.
it's a very specific recipe,
Yeah.
right? So if you want to look that up, it's in Exodus chapter 3.
And to get those blends together, you need to use different types of.
We need to avoid it.
I mean, some have to be cooled, some have to be like heated, and some, to
Right.
bind together, and it's a process.
Yeah, and it's very specific though, as to the oil that's used and the amount of each ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
And that. What about 14?
That's happened so much over the years.
Yeah, it has.
And verse 15 as well. I think of Rome,
Right, and then
very proud nation.
Right?
yeah,
I
and
know,
then
I know
reminds me
Ireland is the proudest nation now. And we're watching the roots getting plucked out of it right now. I mean,
Seems to be. What'd you do to that cat, Lynn?
No, I put all the kitties in the kennel. They're sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
They were making me crazy.
I heard it meowing.
That wasn't no.
Okay, who put the knives in the dishwasher wrong? Oh, goodness. Let's see.
she bonked her head.
Sounded like it. Thunk.
Yep. She's okay. I was just thinking of, what we're seeing today with even just the public school system, just the rottenness in it. And not just there. I'm just using that as an obvious example. But just, that verse, that's being plucked out. You can see the roots being plucked out. That's kind of how I see that in a way.
Yep.
Just rotting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else in the latter part of it?
Well, 19 is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
That jumped out to me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna throw away all his commandments and his laws and his little roadmap there,
Right.
it's just gonna be a seed planted in that gravel pile out there.
And isn't that eternal life too? I mean, that's the sure seed, and he is the word of life.
Yeah.
He's the word made flesh. What word was made flesh? And he never did away with his law and his commandments.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what about the people that say now that law is not for us. It says here that there are dishonorable seed, and they that transgress those commandments are a deceivable seed.
Well, they're trying to change the word, but if you go back and read everything, it's one law for the stranger, one law for the natural born.
Yeah.
There's so many scriptures that refute that position altogether. Even in the New Testament, it has even more.
Yep.
One that they stick to. Quotation marks. But it's deceived us, like we've inherited lies until Abba showed us and opened our eyes. We realized we were being deceived.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Verse 23.
Yeah, I was looking at that just now.
Yeah.
Yep. If a poor man is wise, listen to them, right? I mean, and it's not convenient to magnify a sinner either.
Yeah. That one frustrates me a lot because I've seen that in my own life. Even as a kid, it's like, well, why is he poor in the first place? Like, I'm just like.
Right. You know, talked about it before, but I used to work across from what's called here Homeless Park. And there was, there was a lot of people with drug addiction and alcohol addiction and that type of issues.
That's anywhere, though. Like, that's not just
right.
circles.
But there were also people there that were there by choice that weren't drug addicts or alcoholics. And it's like, well, why are you there? I don't like, the American dream or the life or whatever. Yeah. Why should I spend my existence struggling to keep a house and this and that? I can hop a freight train to another state and be free. That's the attitude they have, man.
It's true.
You think about Yeshua too. I mean, he could have easily campaigned for money and had a bunch of vacation homes just to rest in as he traveled around, but he slept on rocks as pillows. And
well, I've had people ask, how can we, where can I send money to your ministry? No, freely we were given, right? Freely we received, freely we will give. I mean, there's no price you can put on it.
Now I can understand if people want to give and if there's somebody in need in our group, I understand that, but I think it's kind of scary when people just want to throw money at ministries because then you see them getting corrupted so quickly.
Right. Well, what's the difference between that and an indulgence where you can pay X amount for whatever sin?
Exactly. It's like a bribe. It's even if it's not blatantly a bribe, I think eventually, this person gives me so much money and then they don't really like this subject or whatever. So I'm going to veer away from that and just stick with, eventually it warps your mind and your purpose, I think.
Right. Warps your judgment.
Your judgment. Yeah.
Look at, what is that? Look at 30, right? That's very interesting. The poor man is honored for his skill, but the rich man's honored for his riches.
One sounds way better than the other. The first one.
I know. Isn't that funny? The way that it's like, boy, that guy is talented. Yeah. She makes the best cobbler in the entire state. Look at her. Now she's wearing a bikini. Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
$1,000 bikini. Just kidding.
I know. It's like.
Good job.
Yeah.
But that's how a lot of people today, they look at that as that's what they want to look up to. I want to be able to do something. I see people who are talented. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. God gave them a gift. But when you see somebody wearing a $5,000 suit, you're like, for me anyway.
Is it made out of gold and diamonds or something?
Yeah.
What did you accomplish?
Well,
I don't
it's
know.
interesting
Or
if you go
Get buried in it. I mean,
see if you can find it. There's a documentary on Kit Carson, which is pretty interesting. But it talks about when he's first taken to Washington, D.C., and he's, like they're saying, this is the guy, this is one of the men that was a guide for the Lewis and Clark expedition. And in his, his biography, because he had to dictate it, 'cause he couldn't read and write, but he was talking about the sons of Congress people. He was like, he said something along the lines of, they're such dandies, they wouldn't last 5 minutes where I live.
Mhm.
dandy.
But they're held in high esteem here because of what they're wearing and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their money and their father's position, and no. It's like, I want a real man who can actually chop the wood and chop off the zombies' heads.
It's like, what are you going to do? And no, like in a situation where your money's worth nothing, who are you going to be with? Like,
Where's that guy with the
you
skill?
want to be your sidekick there.
Yeah. Boy, that guy has all that worthless money.
Let's start a fire.
Yeah, where's the guy that can start a fire?
Yeah.
Okay. But look at this.
Mhm.
This kind of goes with a modern proverb. Poverty, how much more riches, and he that is dishonorable in riches, how more in poverty. And that's very much like they say, if you win the lottery, it magnifies the person that you already are.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I think it goes to what Yeshua said as well. My mind just went blank.
Yeah, about the thing.
Mommy
The rich
brain. Pregnancy brain. That
that,
happens. I'll say something totally wrong, and my brain does not pick up on it. And I think I said the right thing all the time. And Olivia's like, Mommy.
something about the camel.
No. He who is faithful in little will be faithful in much.
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of goes with that too.
Now, is there an inverse of that where he says, he who cheats in a small matter will cheat in a big thing also?
Yeah, isn't it like? Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of what it is, though.
I can't either, but
And when I look for it, I'm always looking for the wrong term.
Right.
Be faithful in the little things, so he can give you more responsibility. Something like that. I'm butchering that, but to that effect.
Luke 16:10.
Is that what it is?
He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much, and he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much.
Thank
Look
you,
at
Lynn.
Lynn saves the day.
He does.
It's all about your search term.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Ashley and Lynn, thank you very much for reading. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you want to read, you know how to email. We will be continuing in Ecclesiasticus. We have another 41 chapters. So we're going to be on Ecclesiasticus for a while. If you want to read with us, let us know, man. Anyways, we're going to go. We'll be back on Sabbath to do the next 5. And that I'm going to try to keep everybody updated on what progress is going on with the Esaias 35 project, so that those who want to come out of her can come out of her. And we'll just leave it at that. So, everybody, thank you much. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell thingy. And I love you all. We'll see you soon. Bye.